Hello, everyone. I have this Let's Play going right now. Um, and this is something a lot of Pokemon fanboys are gonna hate. They're gonna get a kick out of this too. And let's just say I used to be not just a Nintendo fanboy, but back then I also used to be a Pokemon fanboy. Hell, I played all them Pokemon, what do you call it? Yellow, red, blue, uh, silver, gold, crystal, and this is like every other person who played and supported them. Fire red, leaf green. Well, of course you had ruby and sapphire before they brought back fire, the Kanto region, right? And I know leaf green is just based off of the one that existed in Japan, Pokemon Green, right? And then afterwards. Yeah, Soul Silver, Heart Gold. You get it. The whole shebang. I could just say that much. I used to support every single Pokemon game from Game Boy Color because I didn't have the Game Boy. Nintendo Game Boy, I didn't have that. But I played it on the Game Boy Color. To where I had the Game Boy Advance, the DS. Well, okay, you have to have the Game Boy Advance SP, right? You can't leave that out. And then Nintendo DS, blah, 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 Nintendo 3DS, but I'm pretty sure you would have to have the Wii U and stuff, right? And of course, I can't forget Nintendo 64 and then GameCube. I had all those, man. I even had the Sega Genesis. That was old school, you know? But who cares? This is all about the things that Nintendo's going to have to go down. And there's a very, very, very high chance Nintendo is just going to lose the lawsuit in Japan. Why? Let's just say Pocket Pair played a very, very smart move because Nintendo was only going to try to take ownership of every mechanic of every monster catching game they had on their platform. But yeah, let's do this, man. We're gonna do this. We're enjoying the moment by watching, and also, right? You're gonna enjoy this so much, man. I'm gonna have some reactions here and there, like or something like that, you know, in this game. I'm very big for like freaking out, you know, especially due to like drama. But I am recovering now a little bit more. Let's see. What should I name in? What should I name the world in Palworld? I'm gonna do this. People who support Nintendo still won't be happy when I put this as my world's name. It's gonna happen. Okay. Nintendo loses, or should I say Nintendo is the loser company. Yeah, guys, I never got the Switch 2. At first I was thinking maybe, but now I'm like, never mind. I'll back away from that. Because there were times where I had already thought, no, I don't want to support this system. But then they released certain games. I was like, maybe I might try to get it. I might try to see if I could get it for my birthday. Which my birthday passed already. Alright? A few days ago. But then afterwards I try to think, you know what? I was thinking twice, but in a separate time, that I would try and think about getting it. But then now, it's a big old fat N-O. No Nintendo for me, man. I hate them. Because now I know there's a high possibility that they'll be forced out of the console markets due to the lack of resources that nobody is aware of. They have no more parts to kind of make a Switch 2. But what they have left already, they just can't afford more parts to make a Nintendo Switch 2 continuously. So there's a chance by maybe sometime this year, leading to the end of the end of this year, they'll probably just be able to do nothing very much. And here's the thing: if they do bring digital games, because they'll be forced to work on software if they can't work on hardware. But the problem is, they're not going to make enough money if they're only going to be able to put it on mobile and PC, because they don't like Sony, and right now they don't really like Microsoft, because when Microsoft brought Palworld to their platform, and now there hasn't been very much announcements from like they had Microsoft also had a Pokemon inspired game that they were on the works and developing of. I don't know if they canceled it or so on. Because let's say, yeah, Sony may be suffering some damages due to like things with like tariffs and some type of contract that they had to force Sony to have a age restriction added to their system. And somehow the way Sony implemented the age restricting into their service had a lot of complications, right? But some people won't experience those complications depending on the company in a different location, because different locations, they usually work differently. They usually think differently than the actual location of where the business usually relies in and where it's usually at, right? So where I don't think Sony is in completely that much damage, due compared to Nintendo, you know, because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I looked it up in the internet, there are still more people supporting Sony at this time. Even if a lot of them left, there's still a lot of decent amount of players that are still on the PlayStation platform. And one of the reasons is Nintendo, they have a subscription for their service, right? But you're not really getting any free games out of them, right? Sony, a lot of players that used to be on Nintendo that didn't really start off on Nintendo, but some of them who did start off on Nintendo and then moved to the PlayStation platform, that are still existing in the PlayStation platform since day one. A lot of those players that still exist on the PlayStation are usually on the PlayStation for a reason, because you have a better deal and selection on the PlayStation platform if you were to get a subscription for like 30 days. It didn't have to be for a year. You could have it for like a 30-day subscription or 3-month subscription. You're getting more better stuff from there than from Nintendo, because Nintendo doesn't really put anything free in their subscription unless you count emulation, but that's it, you know. And discounts, they don't really count compared to Sony, okay? Sony discounts, PlayStation Plus connects to all that. Nintendo subscription, it usually just affects the online. You know, you could just play online. If you don't have it, you don't play online. And there's that one part of it that is, instead of them calling it like, I don't think they call it premium, but that Nintendo subscription, they have one that only affects how two different ways. If you want to play online, that's going to be a thing. And if you want access to emulations, those are the only two things that are really in that subscription. Sony has a variety, you know. It don't matter if some people leave Sony, and some of these big majority of customers are putting a lawsuit on Sony, because that lawsuit won't really fully impact Sony. But the lawsuit from customers on Nintendo, alongside the lawsuit that Nintendo is trying to put on the government, like all these other markets are still also putting that lawsuit against the government, but these other companies have a reason. Nintendo, it don't look like they have a reason, and that only reason feels like we just want to use money. We want permission to use your money. Yeah. Good luck, Nintendo. Nintendo is losing. Or should I say loser? Sorry. Phew. I have to put this. And a lot of these Pokemon fanboys are probably gonna complain and probably backlash. But here's the thing. I don't have to pay attention to those stupid backlashes. Because I know when a company is doing wrong and the other company is trying to do right compared to the other company. Meaning Pocket Pair was only trying to care for the players, their community, their customers, right? While Nintendo, they try to make it look like they care, but they really don't. Okay? They didn't really listen to enough of their community when it came to the reason why are the Nintendo Switch 2 going too high in price? Why did you increase it a third time? That just feels like you're triple dipping with these tariffs. And the other one is your customer support sucks. And here's the thing, I still have my original Nintendo, I just don't buy any sort of games. And yeah, I have called Nintendo's customer support because I was trying to see if I could refund the 2 Kingdom Hearts games that I had with that account. And of course, I did get the Kingdom Hearts 3 with that same account. What the hell is going on? The third game I couldn't get a refund from. The other 2, I was able to get a refund. And Nintendo tried to make it look like I didn't end up getting the third game on the same account. They're stupid. But, see, I didn't try to put any backlashes on the customer support. And that's the reason is because I didn't want to get to a point where I got banned to where if their servers shut down, and because I'm banned, right? Because I was already banned from the platform, think of it this way, right? If I was banned already, I wouldn't have access to any of the games. And if it shuts down, I still wouldn't have access. But if I didn't get banned, but they were forced to basically shut down their Nintendo platform, as long as I didn't get banned and they only ended up shutting down their platform, and I'm not saying they are already, I mean, it hasn't been confirmed yet, right? But it could happen. Who knows? And who knows when? But like, if their platform did shut down, I could still basically play the games that I have purchased, right? So I did the very, very slick move. Because I know Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2.5, right? 1.5 and 2.5 and 2.8 cloud versions on the Switch and other platforms in general. The cloud version is going to end up shutting down next year. But I was making sure I was able to get my refund. But the problem is I wanted to get it directly to put into my PayPal. I wanted to see if they could put it directly to my PayPal. But they work in a similar direction, not the same direction. They work in a similar direction as Sony, right? If you buy and purchase the product, you will not be able to get a refund. I mean, I understand with Sony. I understand when Sony does that, but I don't understand when Nintendo does it, right? You're not able to get a refund if you had already purchased the game on the Nintendo platform. But then not almost, it's everything that Nintendo is putting requires money. Let's be honest, that's understandable, right? Anything that you have to put, you have to sell for money. But the way you're supposed to do things, when someone is not satisfied with the product, they should be able to get a refund because your support just freaking sucks. Okay, Nintendo freaking sucks. Let's be honest here. If you had a Joy-Con and that Joy-Con was messed up, right? They won't refund. They will replace it. And sometimes the customer support that you're calling for the refund instead of a replacement, if they replace it, sometimes they'll just charge money. And usually people should be able to replace it for free, right? That's the way Nintendo had their rules, right? Their terms of service. When you have a bad product, they should usually be replacing it free. But you have a lot of customers, when they try to replace their Joy-Cons, the customer support is basically asking for money instead of giving you replaced for free, right? That's weird. That feels fishy, man. I mean, that smells fishy, but it feels kind of sketchy, right? Hey, someone draw a sketch of the sketchiness, right? It's shitting, man. You lied to your customers, and then the ones who are still loyal to you and your product, they're gonna lie to the other side that is having certain difficulties with your product. Damn. And here's the thing. You have a lot of somewhat content creators who are just loyal to Nintendo and the Pokemon franchise, right? I'm gonna mention one right here. And this guy, I used to love the way his content is put out there with the shiny reactions, right? I'm talking about that ball gamer, man. Yeah. I wonder how his reaction if Nintendo were. I wonder how all these Nintendo Pokemon fanboys that are only loyal to the Pokemon franchise and they usually don't like how another game just takes inspiration. Because I remember watching That Ball Gamer's video, one of the videos he had uploaded from the stream, and I remember where someone mentioned that he wanted to know that, do you play Pokemon inspired games? Do you make content of that? And that was all in the comments that was in through that live stream, right? The response he had, he's like, no, I don't support Pokemon knockoffs or ripoffs. Palworld is not a Pokemon knockoff or ripoff, but they are clones. They are fan-made, inspired clones. Okay, they don't have no art that takes from Pokemon. The mechanics, the throwing ones, Nintendo didn't really own that. They own it there and their turf, but they don't own it here. And the way the US works with that is completely different. Because over there in Japan, yeah, Nintendo could try and take advantage of it and abuse it with the lawsuit. But look at it now, man. Nintendo is freaking losing. They are under pressure. And it's multiple reasons. No new customers are able to buy the Switch 2 due to a triple increase in price through the tariffs. And they did that behind the government's back. You know, a business usually has to get permission from the government and sign a few papers to make it where their business is legitimate and legal. Now, they have been, like, Nintendo is considered a legitimate business, and they exist because of legitimacy. But they are abusing certain things, like the tariffs. You're supposed to notify the government to get permission to give the okay to put another price hike to your product. Now, you do that, But you don't really do that, right? You're not getting the permission from the federal courts to be able to put your price up another punch. But now you're trying to sue the government because of something you actually supported. You decided to increase it because you actually supported the price hike and you supported the tariffs. Dude, if that ain't some red flags, I don't know what is. But yeah, it's stupid. You do something behind the backs of not just to your loyal customers that has still not purchased the Switch 2 due to the price hikes, but you also ignore asking for permission to a point where now you want even more money by suing the government. See, I understand all these other companies why they're suing the government with the tariffs hikes, and that's because they don't do what Nintendo is fully doing. I mean, Sony probably has a lot of backlash, but at least they didn't broke rules like that. Oh, whoa. And here's the thing, at least Sony is still kind of more dedicated to their community than Nintendo is. I mean, think about it. If you still have a really decent big amount of people, customers, supporting Sony in a way, even though they lost a lot of customers, they still have a lot of customers because they still gained a lot of customers that usually don't have the same issue as other people when it comes to the age restricting, okay? To where, yeah, you gain some, you lose some, right? That's how it goes with any type of marketing when a product is kind of somewhat struggling for certain customers. Even if that side is a big portion, there's still got to be another big portion coming back in that have never played on the PS5 or the PlayStation in general. To where Nintendo, ooh, they're getting backlash by customers that are new to the Switch 2. Not new to the franchise, just new to the Switch 2. Because you had a big majority of the new customers, but now there's a lot more customers that still exist that are not satisfied due to the price hikes. Damn. How did it come to this, man? I mean, I would have actually bought the Switch 2 if Nintendo wasn't abusing this with the tariffs, right? Like, I would have tried to get in it. It ain't happening now. They lost my trust. I saw a bunch of red flags because I would look up things that people are complaining through Nintendo and customer support itself, and that's here alone, right? In Japan, they don't want to say the truth. They're going to hide it. Over here, they're going to try and hide it, but it won't be successful here due to the restrictions on how the marketing works here in the US, here, right? Nuclear. Okay, PAL's appearance rate. So that means PAL spawn rate, okay, guys? I'm going to have this maybe around here or here, and PAL damage from PAL's multiplier. That one, I think you need this one up, but I could be wrong. It could be this one that is usually up, right? Okay, let's test this out. We're going to go with this one first. I'm trying to make it where it's not pressuring, where it's a little bit more cozier feeling, you know. Damage to pals. No, I think it's damage to pals, but, well, I'll do this so I could try and figure it out slowly. Taking my time. Hunger depletion rate, low. PAL reduction, stamina reduction, low. PAL auto health regeneration rate, high. Okay, and PAL sleep health regenerate, all the way up there too. Uh, Damage from players. Yeah, I think that's also gonna have to be a thing because I'm putting this one up to, damage from pals and players. I want to see if that is the way I'm trying to put it to feel like cozy. Like damage to player multiplier. No, that's basically the one that's kind of like this one here. I'm trying to check first before I set it up and have it where it's set up. Player hunger depletion rate 0. That 0. Players auto health regeneration, yes, maxed out. Yep, that's as well maxed out. Damage to structure multiplier. I'm gonna make it where they can't. Random pals cannot destroy my stuff. So I'm making it where my resources can still be really, really good. Yep, this one's gonna be up there, maxed out. And then I'm also gonna max out gatherable items multiplier. I might try to stream with the webcam, okay, guys? Because yeah, I got a new PlayStation 5, but that PlayStation 5 didn't really came with the camera. It was my existing PlayStation 5 that came with the webcam. To where my old PS5, it ended up dying out. Okay, so I ended up replacing my old PS5, and that's literally due to my dad's help, and I appreciate my dad. Good father, good family. I even had a good my good mother who was in the nursing home, but you know, she was a cool mom. I still try to sometimes talk to her through my dad. Items decay multiply. Yes. No. Actually, no. Yeah. No. 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 Okay. Item weight rate. This one we actually have to lower it down completely, if I remember correctly. To make it where the weight capacity don't really affect anything, this is 0. Uh, yeah. Yeah, this one has a low 0 as well. Equipment durability loss multiplier 0. This one, we won't worry about this one. Let me put this one at 0 too. Okay. We're not going to do a randomizer, and we're not going to have any death penalty to where we don't have to worry about losing anything we picked up. Enable raid events. Yeah, we'll keep that. Yeah. Maximum number of guild members. This we'll keep at 20. This one, we'll keep it the way it is as well. Maximum number of working pals at the base. Well, so exceeds the device recommended values. Okay, yeah, we're gonna keep it that spot. I don't know why, but I feel like when they fully launch the game, this will basically be fixed in some ways. I think it could end up being fixed. Because they could end up changing the way this right here works for the maximum number of bases for each guild or maximum numbers of work pals at the base. And this could all end up being changed and improved later on when the full launch happens. So, no randomizer for now. This on, this one off, this one off, this one off, this one on, this one on. So everything now is a bit more fixed. And no, I do not have online multiplayer set as on. And there's reasons. Because it wouldn't really matter. I don't think it would really matter, to be honest. Unless you're like joining random players on an open world. Because Palworld has their own online servers to where you don't have to be joining that one person's servers. No, you have a variety of servers, a variety of options. Uh, huh. Hold on. I will be right back. I'm gonna get a drink. Okay, guys? Gotta mute myself for a bit. Or better yet, I'm gonna pause my stream for a bit. I'm back. I made me some iced tea with a little lemon juice and a little honey. Because I actually kind of put a little bit more of the mix that I did than I was expecting I put. So what I did was to kind of, how you say, lighten the weight of the sweetness and the sugar. What I did was I put like a little honey, but then I kind of made it where I put lemon juice to a point where it balances it and makes it where it's not too sweet anymore. So make it where it's not too overpowering with the sweet, you know? And yeah, it's iced tea. But it's in the mix, of course. Everything when it's iced tea, it's going to be considered through a mix, right? It's a powder. Well, probably depending on location, right? I'm pretty sure in other places, the way they make iced tea is usually just straight with the same type of tea leaves they would use instead of having to rely on powder, right? Uh, well, yeah. Yeah, great year for Pocket Pair, but bad year for Nintendo. And that's through a lot of things that is making it where Nintendo's having that bad experience with their product marketed. Man, the iced tea is good. Alrighty. Okay. And yeah, the XP we're gaining is usually going to be a lot. I don't know if I maxed it out though. I wanted to increase my XP gain by a lot more than that. Yeah, I didn't increase enough. Hold on. I'm trying to make it where it's a cozier, more experience for me than, pressuring and stuff. I don't want to have it to where it's pressured at all and too difficult. I want to make it to where it's a little bit more simple for me than. Yeah, I knew it. I didn't max out the experience rate. I'm not someone who is too much of a competitive gamer. I'm not really. Well, okay, I'm not a competitive type gamer at all. I mean, I may end up getting in some competitive games, but that don't mean I enjoy it. If I enjoy it, it's because I'm playing it with a friend or other than that, right? But no other reason. But then I will end up stop playing competitive if I get pressured through the competitive match. Because me, I get like a little bit too over competitive to where I'll rage quit, you know? That's why I try to get into regular games, not really into competitive games. Auto save interval. Yeah, 30 seconds. Sounds about great. Mm-hmm. Okay. And start. Alrighty. Now I'm gonna try to see and test how much damage I would do. Because I want to make sure I'm able to make it where it's as cozy as possible as a gameplay for me. Okay. Nope, I'm not doing enough damage. I don't think I have it set up the right way yet. Okay. That means I have to change one of the two settings I have to where it's a different direction. So instead of damage from players, I basically have to set it up to hold on. Okay, damage from pals 0. Damage from players, I'm pretty much sure it's 0. And to damage to players and damage to pals is what you wanted in. So okay, this one here completely low, and the one over here we're gonna put it up maximum. So this one is if you receive the amount of damage from another player, meaning it also affects how much damage the pals will deal to you. The the random overworld pal spawns. Okay. And I might be re-downloading Diablo 4 because I want to see if Blizzard will probably end up being improved when launched with the Season 14 out, right? I mean, I guess you can say Season 4 as a thing where it's live, not really out by launch, you know? But, let's see. Because, yes, I do love the looter genre. One of the key reasons why I love this game is because it takes inspiration from kind of something in two genres, right? This game is a survival, how you say it, survival-like Pokemon inspired, not Pokemon in directly, you know. It just takes inspiration, and that's heavy inspiration, right? But like, I think it's a really good thing, you know, because they didn't really take arts from Pokemon, okay? They didn't take prior art from the Pokemon art designs. They took a little inspiration, making it where people will look at it and think that wrong direction. But what people are only believing is what they're not really seeing. But like, you know, seeing is believing, is it not? But it's also better to believe to an extent instead of seeing less. You see more instead of believing more. Yeah. You know, don't judge until the game's final full product has been out. You know, because things are just going to somewhat heavily change in some ways. Will the art designs change for the PAL? Maybe a little bit. They'll try to tweak a little bit more of the original art style, maybe. But that don't mean that people should see it and think of it as, oh, they ripped off Pokemon. Who cares? I think when they tweaked these PAL's designs, I think they made a very, very good decision by making it where it don't really look at all like an actual Pokemon, but the art takes inspiration from the design and art of a Pokemon. Yeah, I think that's a cool, you know, direction. At least a small indie game developer is trying to do something that no other gamers developing company would even think of possibly dare doing because they would chicken out, right? And like, Nintendo tried to use the existing mechanics from Dragon Quest Monsters in this lawsuit against Pocket Bird that has already been set to where they're looking and they're checking the things that Nintendo was gonna try and fully get from Pocket Pair, which they ain't gonna get anything. And Dragon Quest Monsters ain't their game. It just exists in Nintendo's platform. Okay, let's just be honest. Every other platform, that game just exists. That don't mean that these game companies own the full right. They own the publishing right. They don't own the full rights to this game. Meaning they don't own the mechanics that exist in Dragon Quest. Right? No company with a console platform really owns the rights to an IP or mechanics. Yeah, I'm pretty sure people are like, no, but Nintendo owns the exclusive rights to a mechanic of a game they don't really fully own the rights to. They own the publishing rights on their platform. That is it. Not full rights to this game on their platform. It is a timed exclusive, and Nintendo was like, wait a minute, I thought we had this game. This was supposed to be our exclusive to our platform alone. You're right about the exclusive rights, but not the full rights, okay? Not the full exclusive ownership of that game IP. I wonder what Square Enix is probably thinking right now. This freaking franchise of a business, they're trying to make it look like they own the rights to our IP. Can you blame Square Enix for thinking that way? In a way, other game companies may be kind of usually worried if Nintendo were to take the full rights, right? To game mechanics that don't really belong to Nintendo from games that don't really fully belong to Nintendo. They own the publishing rights, they do not own the developing rights. And I feel bad for any player from Nintendo getting angry and whining like a baby because Nintendo is losing this. And they're like, what kind of players, customers of the community of Nintendo, what kind of community member would say, do it, and, support it, right? You got what you wanted. You wanted Nintendo to get through this position because whoever in Nintendo community supported this. Shoot, man, get him, get him. I want to see it. Get him. Kick their ass. Kick Nintendo's ass. They deserve it, guys. I'm gonna say it. They deserve the freaking loss against Pocket Pair. Because that could have just made it where Nintendo has control over any type of mechanic to own the game on their platform as well. And here's the thing. This is something that has already been seen by other customers and community of Nintendo. They're like, oh shoot, maybe Palworld can now end up coming to the Switch too, because that'll be their only hope. That'll be the only hope for Nintendo to accept this game IP onto their next gen Switch. Which, let's be honest, they're not going to accept it. And that's going to be a very, very big problem. Oh yeah. And those are going to be because the damages that Nintendo did not just cause to themselves, but they also caused it to Pocket Pair. And let's just be honest, let me be serious here. There's a high chance that if the damages Pocket Pair is seen as a critical, Pocket Pair can use the strategy to say that they need to have more of that money from the damages Nintendo caused. Like, Pocket Pair can come back with an expression and say, we're gonna need more than just $30,000 from the legal damages fee. Because it don't matter how people are saying it, how the court and lawsuit works over there, it could end up being to the same direction that exists with this, right? Even if they handle it differently over there because of the way Nintendo wants it to be for their lawsuit, right? But Pocket Pair could be reliable to receive a lot more money from the damages Nintendo put against them Pocket Pair, right? They put damage against Pocket Pair. But Pocket Pair could end up saying, we need more than just $30,000 to cover the damage you have done. They could end up going that route. Because from the first part of the ending of that lawsuit, Nintendo is going to say, we give you $30,000 in yen, right? But Pocket Pair can then increase that the stakes, the situation that Nintendo put damage on. So even though, because at first there's not going to be any confirmation until what they have is set there in Japan against Nintendo. Because Pocket Pair could say, we need more from the damages you've done to our business and financial wise, right? Because Pocket Pair had to use quite a big portion of their investment towards the lawsuit Nintendo was trying to put on them, right? So it only makes sense, right? The Pocket Pair still could end up receiving the money that from the damages Nintendo try to put to where even though at first Nintendo is going to say here $30,000, right? But Pocket Pair can say they need more than what that is to cover the damage, right? It is what it is, baby. And it feels good to be a supporter from a game that takes inspiration. Man, it's great. Because we already know Nintendo ain't gonna win, and they can't back out of it now. They have already set everything. That's a bad sign for Nintendo. Alongside a bad sign from the marketing array as it is already too. Hold on. Uh, hey, sorry about that. I'm tired. And that's mostly because I was bringing things up. And my physical shape ain't that great, but it's not because I overeat or anything. In fact, it is mostly just the lack of exercise. Yeah. Hold on, give me a second. Yeah, 1 minute. Almost there. A little bit more. Okay, I'm good. I was able to let that tiredness relax, you know. Uh, I would focus on. Well, it don't matter. I could focus on attack because there's an item that you could equip a ring to where you can make it where it's like when you use like in Pokemon where you have false swipe, but this is not usually a skill. It's just equipment that has a similar way it works. You know. Excuse me. So you see this, right? Glider. Very soon that won't be a thing anymore. They'll have back the mount flying from these pals, which, just be real, Pokemon didn't really own the rights to that mechanic, to be honest. Why? You have MMOs in Japan that use that flying mechanic, but that's because in MMOs it's different, right? You take inspiration from another game with a flying mechanic because you didn't really own the flying mechanic before all these MMO game developers, right? But in your turf, you're gonna make it look like, yeah, we own the rights to that. We own the rights to that because it exists in our platform. Nah, I don't think so, bud. I don't think so. Who told you that you have the full ownership of those mechanics because it exists on your platform? I don't know who told them that. Probably someone who's a customer to them in their own community on Twitter. I don't think that's an I don't think that's a legitimate statement that saying you own because it exists on your platform alone. And here's the thing. The things that Nintendo had publishing rights in that started having these mounting flying mount mechanics, it started off with Monster Hunter Stories that they do not own the full rights to on the 3DS platform before they actually, after they had shut it down, right? Their 3DS shut down. It's obvious, right? That thing was too old. It shut down way back. Like, I think last year, the before the last year. I don't know who told you that. Hmm? I think he told Nintendo that. You told Nintendo that? Uh, maybe. Get the hell out of here. Who hired this stupid guy? I don't know. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here is, of course, I'm going to learn structure. I got to learn to use the PAL box, right? PAL sphere. And, of course, we're going to go for the campfire. And because we're able to get a lot of points early on because the maximum XP rate, it's gonna help us get through it in a more cozy manner. I mean a cozy manner. I mix with the way I said, I pronounce words and stuff. Repair bench, we're gonna make that a thing. Wooden structure, this is gonna be something that you can use to make the wooden floor when you're building a house in the game. Uh, yep. Uh, we don't have to worry about this because our equipment, we don't have to worry about it getting broken and messed up to where we have to repair them. No, we don't have to worry about that. Huh? Shoddy bed. Or shoddy bed. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Common shield. Uh, we're gonna need some of these recipes for crafting things that is from the quests. The main quest. Because when you do main quest now, you can get experience from doing just the main quest alone and the sub quests and all that. That's cool. I think they did a really cool thing with that, man. And feed box, yep, to where we could put the food for the pals to just enjoy, right? Firebow, normal parachute, which eventually this will change. And the developers actually recommend that when the full 1.0, or however you want to say it, 1.0 fully launches, they actually recommend you start a whole new save game. Even if it does change in this spot here in your original save, the reason why they say that they recommend starting from a fresh slate is because they're basically going to add cinematics to this game, which is pretty cool. Would the cinematics have voice acting? No, there's nothing about that. They said that it won't happen, but they said it could possibly happen in the nearest future, right? But yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Uh-huh. Alrighty. And now, time to chop some wood with my fist. And we're gonna get a lot of wood regardless, because item drop rate in the overworld in general. Okay, we're gonna take that. We're gonna. Hey, look, it's a chicken. Huh. Hmm. Whoa. Hmm. Whoa. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think I may have done this wrong too. Hold on. Uh-huh. I think I still might have it set up the wrong way. Uh-huh. Let me return to title real quick. I am going to try and search up how I can fix this. And, yeah, hold on. Let me pause my, stream. I'm not gonna mute it. I'm gonna pause my own stream. Alright, I figured out why I was not doing very much damage at all. Alrighty. It deals damage to pals. Let me check it. I have a hero already set up to where I can see it. Alrighty. So, a damage to pals, we want to lower it completely. And actually, yeah, we want to have it where uh, okay. Yep. So that means okay. So, okay. Let me see if I can see it through a video. Yeah, let me see this video. I'm gonna pause my or maybe I'll mute my screen real quick. Well, I'll mute me. Alrighty. I may have fixed it now. Alrighty. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. This one we're gonna lower down. Damage 2 player multiplier. Yeah. Uh, excuse me. Now it's gonna be a lot better for me, making it kind of fully cozy like. Boom, confirm. Now start game. Yep, I named this world. Nintendo is losing. Yeah, I had to do it, man. I had to do it. They deserved it. Nintendo deserves it, man. And this is because someone like me and every other player that supported their product, man. Shoot. Customers deserve a lot more than what Nintendo is basically offering, right? Which Nintendo ain't really offering anything good of a deal for their products. Okay, let's see. Uh, okay, that means I still ended up getting it wrong. Okay, I see. But I'm still gonna try and double check to make sure I do it right. Alrighty, I hope I fixed it this time. Excuse me, little gases. I'm gonna mute myself for a bit. I know I could fix this, guys. I just realized an idea on how I could fix this. Because I have my other characters mostly set it up with the settings to where I go to this one. Now I check by going to this. I can now. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Sweet. Now I know how I have it set up to where I used to have it. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Now what I'll do here to fix this up, you want to put damage to pals maxed out. Damage from pals lower. And hold on, let me make sure I see the one that I had for my character damage and stuff. Okay. Now what I'll do here is I go back and check on this one. Yeah, I don't have a photographic memory, guys, so don't judge. Okay. Yep. Alright. Now I have it to where I can have it where I want it. Set up like. Yep. Alrighty. We should be good now. Okay. Alrighty. There we go. Boom. We have it a little bit more cozier now. Good. Good, good, good. Awesome. I'm gonna be live for like a few more minutes, guys, and then I'm gonna probably take like a short nap. And then I'll probably stream again later. Now we want to get some, what do you call them, blue things? Velvet fragments. That's right. Alrighty. Once I'm able to make this workbench, I'm probably just gonna take it easy for a bit and take like a little short nap. Hey, I'm basically gonna do my base up here. Right? Oh, of course, let me just get this as well. Yep, we got some pal spheres, and there we go. Uh, yeah. Alright. We're gonna put that there. And then we're gonna do one more thing here. But this thing, okay. Alright. Alrighty. I'm gonna end the stream here. And I'll try and make another stream as soon as possible. Alright, guys.